Last point that you made was the most significant that we heard from the president just now, suggesting that the United States does not want regime change in Iran. That point had been a little bit fuzzy throughout the day today, given that we saw the president's former national security advisor, John Bolton, tweeting earlier today that he did want to see regime change in Iran. Now, that's a former Trump official suggesting that, who is more hawkish than the president. Now the president very clearly saying that the United States policy is not to have regime change in Iran. The president also suggesting, though, that he is willing to take whatever action is necessary with regard to Iran. Clearly a warning to that nation as it contemplates whatever military response it is working on to this attack. The expectation among the sort of foreign policy expert class here in Washington is that the Iranians will feel they have to do something militarily to respond to this. The question is, what will they do and where will that happen? What form will it take? Will it be military? Will it be kinetic, as they say? Or will it be some kind of a cyber strike or economic strike on oil shipping in the region? All of that unknown, but the president there sending a clear message to the Iranian leadership that he is prepared to respond in kind, depending on what it is that they choose to do next. So the president saying he is a friend of the Iranian people, but that Soleimani had been one of the world's worst terrorists, needed to be dealt with, should have been dealt with long ago, and he was prepared to do that yesterday.
I want to bring Hillary Mann Leverett back into the conversation. Hillary, I want to get your reaction to the president's comments just now, including those about the fact that we do not seek a regime change, but that targets are fully identified and that they're ready and prepared to take whatever action is necessary based on how Iran reacts to this.
My reaction both to what the president has just said and my understanding from speaking to people both at the White House and who speak to those there is that the president was very much focused on domestic politics here, and this decision was taken in a very hasty, rash way. The concern very quickly developed over the past week that it was almost shock that Iraqi militias could get so close to the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, could essentially storm the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, burn it down, and that President Trump would be looking at his own Benghazi moment, that time back in 2012 when the U.S. Diplomatic compound in Benghazi, Libya, had been stormed and our U.S. ambassador there killed. Both President Trump in his 2016 campaign and even more significantly Secretary of State Pompeo when he was a congressman, they used that incident to vilify then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and President Obama as feckless leaders that didn't stand up for Americans. My understanding is that President Trump and Secretary Pompeo were scared that they would have their own Benghazi moment with the embassy U.S. Embassy being stormed in Baghdad. And they rushed 750 U.S. troops there to prevent that from happening, and they're now sending thousands of more troops. This really puts President Trump in a corner. He now has to justify legally that he took this action because of some imminent terrorist attack that General Soleimani, the Iranian general, was going to carry out. But General Soleimani is a strategic planner. He's not the person that does it plans every incident or goes down to the minute details. So he's not the person who would have been planning any particular incident. He's the strategic planner for Iran. So this idea that he personally was planning some imminent terrorist attack, that really just doesn't hold water. I think they're trying to backpedal now to come up with a legal justification where their concern was really much more political. That my concern as someone who looks at political risk is that their political concern over having another Benghazi has opened the door for them to have an all-out regional war.